votes.
Yes.
From the very beginning, the whole plan of the Democrat Party was to steal this election with mail-in ballots.
Mm-hmm.
It's the way they steal. Before that, they used to hold back one of the counties in the state, and then when they needed enough votes, they produced enough votes to win. That's how Mayor Daley won the 1960 election against John Kennedy.
Right.
So the mail-ins were ripe for this. We had no observer, not a single observer, for over 350,000 mail-in votes that were counted.
Now, can you explain for people who don't know this, because Mayor Giuliani, you've been in government a long time and you've been a prosecutor, so you are, despite what the left may want to say, you're a brilliant man. A lot of Americans may not know what that means. Can you qualify what observer means?
What it means is, and it makes sense, right? When you have a mail-in vote, absentee votes are always counted this way. In order to verify the vote, there's a Republican on one side, a Democrat on the other side, and an election official on the other. He takes out the envelope. Everybody gets the chance to look at it. They make sure it's a real envelope. They open that up. They put it aside. Then there's an inner envelope. They make sure that that is properly processed to a specific election district. They look inside. They see a ballot. They don't look at who he votes for. And then they both approve it, and they put it in the voting pot. Either side can make an objection.
Right.
The Republican or the Democrat. And then they put those aside, and then those are examined by an independent judge. That did not happen here. The law required that it happen.
Wow.
The law required that every single ballot be observed, because these mail-in ballots are inherently prone to fraud. They're easy to send in 100 of them,
right? 200
of them,
right?
So this is a very important part of the process that removes the fraud.
Right.
In the case of 400 or so ballots, there was no Republican inspector. We have 50 different witnesses to establish that, and videotape.
Right. Yeah, and we just ran some of that videotape.
And we went to court, and the court required that we be allowed 6 feet closer so we could see the ballots.
Mm-hmm.
When Corey Lewandowski and his colleagues went back with the court order, that we were put 6 feet closer, but the people counting the ballots were moved 10 feet further away.
Oh.
And
right.
he was threatened with arrest by the sheriff if he insisted on anything else.
Well, you should have just used reverse psychology and said, move them 10 feet away. Like, no, we're going to move them closer. That's probably what would work. Hey, quarterback, we don't need to lower it when Mayor and I are speaking. You have me in the bottom corner right now. Go ahead.
The lawsuit we file tomorrow will allege what I just told you, and we will have a hearing and we will prove it. But by the time we're finished, that number is going to go way up, because we just started in Pittsburgh and we're up to 300.
Right.
We haven't looked at Lackawanna County, where we believe there are another couple of thousand. And we think the Philadelphia number is far in excess of 135.
Right, I can imagine.
So those ballots, as Ken Starr said just a few minutes ago on television, there's no choice with regard to those ballots that were unlawfully counted.
Right.
There's no way they have to be thrown out.
Now, does this
almost like a dead person voting?
Right.
Yeah. We don't know if it's a valid ballot or not.
And I'm quite sure there are a few of those in there as well. So I heard you mention yesterday at your press conference 650,000. I'm assuming that potentially compromised votes. And by the way, Mayor Giuliani has been very measured in this, where he said when they refuse to allow accountability, it gives the appearance of fraud. But we're not saying voter fraud. We're saying irregularities. It could be fraud. It could be incompetence. It could be system error. I want to be clear about that. People who care about free and fair elections should want every legal vote to be counted. And like I said, a champion fighter, they're never happy with a split decision win if it's in question. There's usually some kind of a rematch. So when you say 650,000, is that when estimating the total when you count from these other counties?
Yeah, that would be counting all of the other counties and all of the other methods of fraud that were involved. If we talk just about unobserved mail-in votes, probably going to reach about 500, 600,000.
Right.
Wow.
Right now we're at 350,000 exact, where there's a witness you can tie to an affidavit. That witness is ready to go to court and swear under oath in front of a judge.
Right.
So we make our record. And that's what you would call it legally. Make our record.
Yeah.
Because it's going to go to the Supreme Court for sure.
And that total number that you're using, does that also include, in other words, would people add on top of that the ballots that came in after 8 p.m. or would you be including that in that total number, because those again are ones that just simply couldn't be verified?
At this point, we don't have a total on that, but that will be included in the lawsuit because Justice Alito specifically ruled that those ballots should be put aside. And
right.
Many of them were not put aside. Many of them were included in the actual vote total.
But how do you fix that then? How do